the smell of the video store. I love this place.
Do you remember when you could just look at the walls of covers?
We had to choose just by looking at the cover and reading the crappy synopsis.
You were leaving with one.
And the only way to know what new movies were coming out is you actually had to watch the trailers instead of skipping them.
Right, we didn't have the internet to look it up. We had one guy named Todd behind the counter that would tell us what was good or not.
And Todd strangely liked way too many romantic comedies.
Yes, but you always knew when the boobies were coming because Todd made sure.
Oh, and remember all the awful CG we had to put up with in the mid-90s?
We talk about that a lot, don't we?
Join us on Analog Jones and the Tempo Film, where we talk about VHS tapes.
And we wax nostalgia like none other.
Dylan.
Hey, Matt.
So we've got something that we haven't had in a really long time. A guest.
Yeah, someone that's not us.
Yeah. But Sean, the Wordburglar, Jordan, is here. He is the host of the Do You Still Like This Movie podcast. But more importantly, he is SJ the Wordburglar. And you've got you're fundraising for some more vinyl.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. First of all, I was just thinking like Santa Claus has a bunch of different names, right? So why not? You can call me whatever you need. Well, we're in the Christmas spirit here in early spring. Is this considered spring or is this what?
It's a winter-ish.
Yeah, it depends what the world decides to do this year, temperature-wise.
Listen, I'll tell you right now that I'm walking dogs in the morning and it's winter.
Yeah. But 2 days ago it was in the 60s, so.
Well, I've been shoveling snow for the last couple months now, so it's all good.
That's true. You're our first Canadian, so.
Whoa, we like our snow, we like our holidays, and we like our Christmas 365. So it all kind of worked out to come on here. Yeah, I've got new vinyl. We're doing a crowdfunder on Bandcamp right now. If anyone's interested, you can check it at wordburglar.com. It's old school hip hop infused with nerdy, geeky things that I love, like comic books, action figures, sports statistics, food, movies, video games, cartoons, and whatever I feel like dropping some rhymes about. And it's called the MacGuffin Device LP.
I'm in, 100%. I'm in.
Yeah, some of your songs even, if anybody watched the last Blockbuster on Netflix, they've heard some of your music because your song Rental Patient is featured pretty heavily in that movie.
Yeah. Thank you. All about the days of renting videos. If you guys remember those days, going to the store and hoping they have the movie you want to see, and if it's not in, you got to pick something else. There was no it's just going to be right here on Netflix. No, for those of us who remember going to the video store, right? Your movie wasn't in, you just couldn't see it. That was it, and you'd have to pick something else, maybe based on box art alone, which may not properly depict the contents of the film you thought you were getting.
Well, I think that's something we have blind nostalgia for, because I saw a meme the other day where it was don't you miss this time? And it was a picture on the horror section, and my buddy was like, fuck no. Are you serious? Right now I get to watch whatever movie I want to watch if I can think of it. But I do miss the amazing box art that we used to get that we just don't get.
I do miss walking the aisles, man. Yeah, did I watch mostly trash? But it was trash I wouldn't have known existed if it wasn't for the video store aisle. So in the name of nostalgia, you threw out an idea to us that not only is it childhood nostalgia, but also it ties into what you're raising money for, because you have a rap song about it. And that is perusing through the Christmas catalogs. We'd say, I don't know, what do you say, circa early November, these bad boys would roll into your house, and it was just circling shit and being like, Mom, these are the things I want.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking like even like as early as October. I'm not sure how the scheduling, in Canada we don't Thanksgiving isn't quite as big a deal, so they want to get you early with like the Christmas catalog. So that would show up, in October. Yeah, I do have a song. It's called My Christmas Catalog Number, which is a bit of a play on, number being like, here, this next number is about a Christmas catalog, or also My Christmas Catalog Number, because everything in it had a number associated with it, where when you called Sears or JCPenney or whoever, you would say, I'm going to order, the periwinkle blouse, and it's number da 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 da. Or, in my case, I'd be like begging my mom to get me some kind of transformer or something.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely one of those things where it was like, it was a Sears catalog, so there was a bunch of stuff in there. But when you're a kid, you just fucking flip straight to the middle where the toys section begins and just start circling shit.
And I would even go past the toys. I was an electronics kid. Like I'm definitely the gamer on the podcast, so I would flip right to where I could find any computer toys, games, videos, anything like that. And usually you got this big catalog and it's hundreds of pages, and you maybe got 3 pages of that. And I would always remember like some of the toys and stuff. I would circle it, and then I would never actually get anything that was in this catalog.
Yeah, sometimes I would get the stuff that I circled, but it was, you know what? It was almost like I did something very similar, not around Christmas time. When I was a kid, in the newspaper, every Sunday they would have the Columbia House insert. And even though my parents wouldn't let me apply for the 12 CDs for a penny because they understood that it was a scam, I would still take that insert out and go through album by album and circle all the ones that I was going to be on the lookout for when I went into the record store when I had allowance money. So even if it didn't necessarily lead to Christmas gifts, I do feel like those Christmas catalogs also were just a great, like, it was almost like your like Wizard magazine, like getting your toy breakdown of like, okay, these are the things I'm on the hunt for right now, and hopefully most of them come in for Christmas time, but at least I have like a documentation of their existence.
Oh, exactly. Well, they were our early internet, and Christmas catalogs as well was kind of like an internet shopping for everybody, because you could get, witty sweatshirts and nightshirts that say it with style, or, get a Nintendo, get some wrestling action figures, or, maybe bunny soft knits touched with Angora. For the special one in your life.
I also we're going to diverge from Christmas once again because it's the end of February. Dylan, you brought up that you're the electronics guy. You brought up that you're the gamer of the show. Before we hit record, Burglar and I were just shooting the shit about Christmas stuff, and we brought up 8-Bit Christmas. And he told me something really interesting, which is that he is in Nintendo Power for having the high score in one of the games featured in 8-Bit Christmas.
Really?
It is true. That movie was awesome. Like, it was such a nostalgia overload, especially like I like totally relate to that era. And I have the high score in Nintendo Power magazine for a game called Narc. And Narc being in the movie, everyone had Super Mario and all these other ones, but for some reason I had Narc. And it wasn't maybe the most popular game, wasn't the greatest game, but it was one of the only games I owned, so I got good at it.
Did you happen to play the remake that they did of it? In like they did a remake in like 2006, 2007, which is god awful. Matt, you need to look it up. The soundtrack's awesome. It's like full blown like Cypress Hill and early 90s hip hop, but the game is awful. But yes, the original Narc, fantastic.
Well, also, like, it was, I say it in the song, because I have a whole song about it. It's called Narc High Score Nintendo Power. If anyone's interested, check out the video on YouTube. We did a whole video that plays out like an 8-bit Nintendo game.
Yeah.
So I'm going to shamelessly plug that. Go check out Wordburglar, Narc High Score, and Nintendo Power if you got 3 minutes to kill on some video game-related rhymes. And that game, I say, was like Grand Theft Auto, but on the NES, because it was like weirdly violent. You would like explode people. And you would pause the game and you could see body parts flying and stuff. And if you paused it, I remember you'd like blow up like a drug dealer or some pusher trying to flash you or whatever they were doing. Like they'd open their trench coat and you'd pause the game and it'd be like a little happy face. It looked like a little Lego head.
But it was okay because they were trying to push their drugs on you. Like,
that's right.
like your parents is like, yeah, you can explode those guys because they're bad guys. They're trying to push their
They've
drugs
got marijuana on them.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
They're trying to push the devil's lettuce. You can explode them.
But yeah, I was super excited. So it's only the second movie, 8-Bit Christmas, that I've ever seen Narc featured in, and the other being, of course, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Yeah,
when
that's right.
They're the like bad kids who are like getting trained to be thieves by the Foot Clan. The Foot Clan give them like a Narc arcade game to like hang out in their like lair. So it's like, yeah, you guys go do all these crimes and train to be ninjas.
It's a real mazes and monsters type situation. They're like,
but they're doing the opposite because they're like, we shouldn't be exploding. These are us. We're the bad guys.
No, it was a modified version of Narc.
Oh, okay.
Can you imagine? Yeah.
Shredder went through and played around. He was very good with technology.
It was a
Narc mod. It was a good hack. Yeah. I like that. The Eon Genesis hack. That was good.
So we're talking Nintendo. Was that in the days of the Christmas catalog? Was that to you the big one? Was that like the white whale of the Nintendo of the Christmas catalog?
Oh yeah, like Nintendo into Super Nintendo, and I love the action figures. So G.I. Joes, Transformers, Star Wars, those were like, especially like late 80s. I remember seeing there was the G.I. Joe spaceship, the Defiant Space Shuttle Complex. And there's a photo, and I know because I have since tracked down a copy of this catalog. And the photo, the kid next to this spaceship thing, like the spaceship goes up to like the kid's neck when it's like he's playing with it. And I remember thinking like, oh, the kids in these catalogs, they get all these toys for free. Like, how do you get to be, can I audition to be a kid in a Christmas catalog? Like, I can play with Transformers as good as this guy. Like,
I imagine those kids in the catalogs
should be wrestling Hogan,
after the photo shoot, the person taking the picture just walks up and goes like, "All right, give me that," and takes it.
So speaking of like the kids in the toy catalogs playing with the toys, I don't think I've ever brought them up on Christmas 365. I've brought them up on plenty of other podcasts, but my uncle, who sadly has since passed away, was like my first experience in like a hardcore geeky guy. And he was a huge toy collector. He had 7 complete sets of the original Star Wars action figures, all still in the box. So like he would just like whenever money was low, he'd just hop on eBay and be like, a couple $1,000s or whatever, a couple million even for like full set of 150 Star Wars action figures still in original boxing, like type stuff. But he had a beautiful display case of all of these Star Wars action figures because he had one set that he took out of the box for display purposes, and he had the Boba Fett with the launch rocket, and even like on his display case had cut out the image from the magazine of the kids playing with the spring-loaded rocket thing and like taped it onto the glass of the display case. I think Star Wars is the biggest example of like action figures gone wrong at Christmas because they didn't have them in time. So kids just open like a piece of cardboard that was like, you can turn this in for a Star Wars toy sometime in April.
Yeah, totally. Like, man, like the Star Wars, that's legendary. I'm just thinking like, what toys did he have? And also I thought you were going to say because he took toys from kids who were in the catalog.
Yeah, he ripped them out of their hands. For whatever reason, you guys in Canada would get these like rarer toys. And he had a Canadian contact. So, like, you couldn't get a Yak Man toy in the States to save your fucking life to complete that 150 set. But he had some contact that he would call, and they would ship him like 20 packs of Yak Man toys.
You fuckers and your Degrassi and your special Star Wars toys.
They got.
Wait, what about all our wrestlers that we send down to you guys? I mean,
Oh my God. That is true. Well, you guys also got a lot of the last run WWF toys in the 90s. You got the blank action figure from Dick Tracy that we never got in the States.
Oh, wow.
Because it was a spoiler.
Deep cuts, man.
Because that blank toy is like crazy rare in the United States. The Dick Tracy movie from the 90s, obviously the blank is Madonna, and the action figure had a removable face that revealed Breathless Mahoney's face underneath it. But they're like, well, we can't put out this toy yet because it spoils the movie. So while we produce these, we're going to hold off on them until the movie is done its theatric run. And like, this thing's going to be a huge hit. So like, we have nothing to worry about. And then the movie completely bombed and no one was really buying the action figures. So they said, fuck it, ship them to Canada. And they just sent all of these toys.
Sounds about right. Sounds about right.
Yeah, you gave us Bret Hart, we gave you a bunch of toys that nobody wanted from the Dick Tracy toy line.
It's like, not only were they toys nobody wanted, it's for a movie nobody saw.
Yeah,
with a twist that no one cared about.
Yeah, it's like, what? I actually weirdly remember those toys. I remember not liking that movie, but now I kind of want to see this figure, like with the face reveal. That's Madonna?
Yeah, Madonna. Breathless Mahoney was the blank, the big bad in that movie. You'd think it was Big Boy, but no, you would be wrong.
Hey, do you have an idea for a podcast but don't know where to start? Or do you have an already existing podcast that you want to take to the next level? Well, check out WeKnowPodcasting.com. From concept development to theme music to editing to logos, WeKnowPodcasting.com is a one-stop shop for all things pod. Don't hesitate to hit us up. We're very nice.
What was the best toy? Like, Dylan, you made a reference to the fact that like you would circle all this shit, but very rarely did you ever actually get the toy.
Yeah, and I think it's like my parents, even now, like when they go Christmas shopping, it's stuff in stores. They don't really order stuff online. And we would get the catalogs, and kind of like what you were saying, Matt, where you would circle the stuff you wanted. And you would just kind of hope that you saw it in the wild, or that it could be found in the wild. They didn't really order anything from the catalog itself. But it's like, here's just an idea of what I want. I think another thing with those catalogs is there was a lot of like junk in them. Like, not name brand stuff. It was always like the rip-off stuff. And you're like, God, I kind of hope I don't get that.
Yeah, it's like name brand style, you know, at a discount. And at the end of high school, I wound up getting a job working at the Sears call center. So I actually would get orders from people like calling up for the Christmas catalog and all these things. And most of the time, it was like grandparents and like aunts and uncles, and they would order in advance. So by the time like November, December rolled around, Sears was sold out of everything. So we would I'd come into work and they'd be like, all right, look, just tell them we're out of Pokemon. Okay. They can't get any Pokemons. They can't get any, we're also out of, whatever, these blouses on page 82. So like they'd call up and they're like, I want this Pokemon. I'm sorry, we're sold out. And they would get so mad. It's like, well, what am I supposed to get for my grandson? He wants Pokemons. Get him Pokemons.
Go see if there's one in the back. All right. I just looked. There's none back there.
No, we were just like the call center.
Yeah.
But it was a fun job. But it was interesting to be on the other side of Sears. I still remember. It's like, can I get your Sears client card number, please? And they all started with the same 6 digits, and I had a headset, kind of like the one I'm wearing right now.
Yeah.
Getting weird flashbacks.
It's always fascinating because I feel like as a kid, like you're circling those catalogs and you're like, I don't even know how this stuff gets ordered. Like,
I
don't
had
even know
no
how this
clue.
works.
The fact, at 36, you saying you would call and order them with a number is the first time that it really clicked in my brain that, oh yeah, I guess my parents could call and order that stuff.
That's true. Yeah.
I thought I was legitimately handing them a magazine and being like, now you go to Sears and you buy the things that are circled.
You could. So there was another one, and maybe some of your listeners know, but we had Consumers Distributing, which I think there was like equivalents maybe in the US. And that was one where you did have to go in, and you would literally go and it was just, you'd go and it was like a counter in this like warehouse that they'd be in malls or like weird warehouses attached to malls. And you just walk in and you'd give a number, and then they just walk to the back and pull it out of the warehouse. So in that case, you did have to go in, but Sears would deliver, and they used to actually deliver to the pharmacy by me. Like, it wouldn't come to your house. Like, there was like a Sears catalog pickup depot at like your local drugstore or wherever, especially in like smaller rural communities. Like, that's how Sears would do very well in like a lot of small towns and stuff like that, right? So a lot of that catalog stuff, and that's, people would do their shopping early. But what I loved about the catalogs was just like, like we said about the internet, it was like you got to see all this stuff you didn't know existed. And you're just kind of flipping through these pages. And like in the song, that's what I talk about. Just sort of like I would spend every night like just reading this thing before I went to bed, and like toys I didn't even care about. And like I'd learn all the like toys that like my sister would want, or like I'd know what page, you could find everything. And it was like this really like cool thing to like, because that magic of like being a kid. I love toys, and you can't have all the toys you want, but that magic when you just kind of, your mom happens to take you to the mall or something, and you just walk by like the toy aisle and you see like an action figure you've never seen before. It's like, what is this? I've never seen this one. My cousin has a blue guy, but I've never seen this like purple guy with the crazy spear, and just like that, like thrill, and when we were talking about doing the podcast, Matt, like that's what I was just thinking, and like getting all these great memories of just being a kid and like the thrill of like flipping through a catalog. And
because that's gone. Like,
exactly.
that's
like, it makes
gone.
me sad. Like, if I were to walk, so I teach 6th grade English. If I were to walk into my classroom and explain this to like my kids, they'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" like explaining this in a pre-Amazon world, like, is insane. What do you mean? There's nothing out there I haven't seen yet. Look, I can Google literally anything and it'll pop up. It exists, and I can get it instantaneously. And if not instantaneously, it can be at my house by tomorrow. And it's like, yeah, we kind of lose this wonder. And I know we were I was making a joke about the renting the DVDs and movies thing, but I was a Best Buy kid. I'm sure we all were, like, going into Best Buy, buying the brand new releases, the brand new albums, brand new movies. Me, it was brand new games too, and it's like all of those. There's maybe 1 or 2 aisles. I think the CD aisle is officially gone in Best Buys now. I think the Blu-ray aisle is maybe 1 or 2 deep.
Yeah, it's like one row. I just went to, the other thing is that they don't care as much. Like, me, I'm Mr. Physical Release.
Oh yeah.
So like Encanto came out on Blu-ray today, and I was like,
Yeah.
I want to get that into my Blu-ray collection because I love having every Disney cartoon on DVD or Blu-ray. Like, that's like a big thing for me. And I went in there at 4 p.m. and they still hadn't stocked the Encanto Blu-rays, and I'm like, dude, that shit would have never flown 5-6 years ago. That would have been, they would have been here last night making sure that those are on the shelves for when the door
and
opened.
It would be
at 9.
telling you that they had it too. As soon as you walked in the door. Welcome to Best Buy, home of the Encanto DVD special edition. Buy it now for $29.95, right? They got the big buttons on Encanto.
Well, and that was, I used to tell people that, like, literally if you bought the DVDs or the CDs or any of that stuff the day it came out, it was probably going to be the best deal you got on that up until Black Friday later on, because they'd be like, hey, this new movie for the Tuesday that it came out, it's going to be $9.99, and you come in here Wednesday, it's going to be $20.
Yep, it was usually like $15 on release day, and then as soon as the next day hit, it went up to 20. Like, it's insane. It's crazy. And to explain that, I mean, thinking about GameStop now, like, I remember the first time I went into GameStop, the day of I think it was the Resident Evil Revelations on DS. I walked in there to buy it, and I'm like, hey, do you have this? They're like, did you pre-order it? I'm like, no. Well, we don't have it. I'm like, what? It came out today. Like, this doesn't make any sense to me. Does not compute. I miss regular retail.
Yeah. Regular retail had its place, and my friend Eric has a book coming out in like 2 weeks. It's like released from HarperCollins, is going to be in Barnes & Noble. And I was just like, fuck it. I'm going to go into a bookstore and I'm going to purchase your book because, like, I don't know. It feels like it's cooler that I'm supporting my friend by physically walking into a store and purchasing a thing where I never thought I would be able to purchase anything that had my friend's name on it in a store than, like, if I'm just downloading it or like ordering it on Amazon. It's like, it's kind of the same as just like downloading any of my friend's music on Bandcamp. Like, yeah, I'm being supportive, but like it feels the same as if they just sent me the MP3. It's like, I want to walk into the store and be like, my friend made this.
Yeah.
Here's
And it's-
$20. Like,
And it's a mission too. Like if you want to look at it like a fun thing, like you're going on a quest. You're
Yes.
going out to get it. That's what like the renting movies is about. Like Rental Patient. I mean, that was it. Like you're with your friends. You got a time limit. You got to pick something good. Your friends are waiting, or like you're gonna leave your house. You got to get up off your couch. You're gonna sit on your couch for a few hours and play games or watch movies. But you might as well burn a few calories walking to the store.
Yep.
And but yeah, and like the catalog thing, Dylan, you mentioned how like Amazon, you can just get stuff and it's there the next day. With the catalog, it was also like the special thing, just bringing it back to Christmas. It felt like this was the only time of year you could ever consider ordering a toy or something to your home. Because then the other 11 months of the year, there'd be you wouldn't have an opportunity to go online and order something, or there was no other you didn't get like a Groundhog Day catalog or something. It was like Christmas catalog. This is it. These are the only toys this year. This is it. Toys don't exist for the rest of the year. So you got to pick if you want to get this Power Ranger or this Nintendo game or whatever, like you pick it now and you're going to have it for the whole next year until the next catalog comes around. So I don't know. I mean, that's maybe how my 7-year-old brain thought about it.
No, and I mean, it works. And I think this goes into even just content in general nowadays, like how just overflowing everything is with content. I bring it up constantly. Like my backlog of games is absolutely insane right now. And just next week, the new Horizon's coming out. And then we got Elden Ring at the end of the month. And my stack of unplayed games is just continuing to grow, but I'm like, I still need it right now. So, and it's hard. It's hard to sit down and you spend hours scrolling through Netflix trying to find something to watch. And there's thousands of things you could watch, but you're like, I don't feel like watching that. Maybe we have too much at our fingertips. Maybe it is just too easy to get a hold of something nowadays.
Yeah, we're cursed with the choice.
Yeah. It's the same thing with cell phones and cell phone addiction and stuff like that, where it's like, I think everything is just too close to touch. I think it's way too easy to get a hold of the things. It's kind of like we were just talking about earlier. It's like going out for the hunt. I miss the hunt. I miss going out and hunting for things. I miss even 10 years ago, just around late September going out. We're going out hunting for spooky stuff. Like we're going to go hit these Halloween stores, and then we're going to go hit Target and Walmart and stuff like that. And I feel like the hunt is it's going away, and I wish it would come back.
that's why things like Record Store Day are so popular, because it's like a day that forces people who are record collectors to be like, all right, I got to drive to this store because it has this specific album, and I got to go to this store because it has this specific album. I think that we are continuing to see, and I know this is a wild prediction, but I think that things constantly are in rotation of what's popular, and convenience, while it's nice, does have enough downside that it's like, I look at what's happening with Spotify right now, where people are just like, you know what, take my fucking music down, because the fact that I have to get 1 million downloads to make $1 makes no fucking sense. And if people want to listen to my music, why not go to my Bandcamp and just pay the $10 to get the whole album of songs at that point? I don't think that streaming in the digital age is going to go away per se, but I think that the people who are like, oh, physical media is going to definitively go away are wrong. Like, I think that there's always going to be collectors, but I also think that artists are going to start getting fed up with the fact that they're putting hours and so much time and effort into something that is literally being just treated like a disposable commodity after they've spent a year of their life crafting it. I don't know, when I buy something, I feel like I'm giving it value. When I listen to a song on Spotify, I don't feel like there's as much value given to it.
I mean, 100% as a consumer. Yeah. It's the records I buy, the physical vinyl copies that I buy. I sit there and I listen. I look through the artwork. I appreciate what I'm listening to. Where New Music Friday, I'll pop onto Apple Music or Spotify, scroll through the new releases, add them to the library, and I might never even sit down and listen to it. It's almost like we don't appreciate it as much as we could.
Yeah.
You know?
Better on a shelf at home than your telephone. Plus, then you remember what the hell you own.
It's true. Boom.
Now that's you guys. It's kind of a perfect segue, I gotta say. For I'm here on my podcast promo tour, promoting my new vinyl release.
Yeah.
So, but everything you're saying is so true, and yeah, I love physical. I love interacting. I mean, like with vinyl, I love that you have to get up and flip the vinyl over.
Yep.
And the vinyl is crafted so one side and the second side, like there's there's a reason the tracks are ordered that way. You want to flip things over. You start off side B with like another song. Like there's a reason all these choices made. You've got artwork to interact with. With my new record, for example, we've got all the lyrics on the inside. So it's big, beautiful artwork on the front cover. It opens up, and then you have the lyrics to all the songs. So you can rhyme along with me about renting movies, going to used record stores, playing video games with Megaran. I'll shout out my man Megaran, who's on the album. Comic books, Dungeons and Dragons. There's some wrestling in there. There's some He-Man. There's, all kinds of fun references. So, yeah.
And I've said this a million times before, but the other really great thing about when stuff came in a physical form, like a CD or a cassette or a vinyl, the amount of other bands I found in the 90s just through looking at the thank yous in those albums and being like, hey, I really like this artist. What other bands are they thanking that maybe I haven't heard and should check out? And that just exposed me to even more bands. Burglar, before we go, I've put you on the spot to do this on every single podcast we have ever done together. You mind wrapping us out real quick and summarizing what we talked about?
Dylan, who's your favorite wrestler?
Oh my God. Let's go with Kenny Omega.
Oh, well, Kenny Omega. Who doesn't love Kenny Omega? I know he's down with video games, Nintendo, Sega. He liked to talk about Chrono Trigger one time. Now let me think. Oh, let me figure. I see behind you got a picture of Jason from Friday the 13th. You're asking, what does Berg mean when he puts these rhymes together and makes a freestyle? I see Matt over there looking nice. Meanwhile, we talked about Christmas catalogs and toys, action figures for all the girls and the boys. Maybe you get a nightgown for mom or dad, whatever your style, whatever was the fad that you could open up inside a catalog with JCPenney. What data log am I looking at to find pictures? I go on the internet now, but I just miss the days of ordering things and wondering if I could go to a store and find that one thing that I wanted to, and maybe it would be around, but if not, then I'd have to go downtown to another store and again, and then maybe call up one of my friends and say, hey, have you seen Encanto? I can't find it anywhere. Don't you know it's actually Encanto? Did I pronounce it wrong? I'm in Toronto, though. Now I sing a song. I'm kicking a freestyle. There's no beat, so I can't be off it. I gotta give you props for all the topics, and thanks for having me on. I'll be the word to the Burglar, real name Sean.
Hey!
Check the report.
Oh, you know what I really want for Christmas? Yeah. My favorite holiday book, the catalog from Sears. Each year in your mailbox, it magically appeared. Used to show up mid-fall, early as October. Jam with the stuff the kids would go nuts over. And did I? Yo, let me tell you the facts. I studied this catalog like I was taking the LSATs. For some reason, I just needed to know every Star Wars, Transformer, G.I. Joe, Ninja Turtle, and Wrestler, Micro Machine, Hot Wheel. So much awesome, I thought it was not real. The best photo reference that you could find, full of brand new toys and didn't cost a dime. Pages were full color, glossy and thin. I'd circle toys I wasn't even interested in. Yeah, I slept with this thing, I'd even take it to dinner. It kept me warm through the cold Canadian winter. From the first sign of snow till winter was done, you could find me flipping through pictures of fun.
Can't keep up catalog on board the show. Thirsty for my catalog.
It's all good, didn't need a reason. Yeah, the best read of the season.
Can't keep a catalog on board the show. Thirsty for my catalog.
They called it the Wish Book, a toy marketing triumph. Designed for kids to bug their parents to buy them. And the kids in the pics were who I wanted to be. I imagine they got all of those toys for free. From the RC trucks to that weird hugging monkey and the doll in overalls called my buddy. Nobody wanted that, sorry if you had him. I'd rather have a GoBot or even Prince Adam. From Care Bears to the Care Bear cousins, they had the best toys you'd ever seen by the dozens. Even ones looking back you know you're laughing at, like kids who had a Cabbage Patch for their habitat. that's a fact. I pray to Santa every night. It's not blasphemy, he's technically a saint, right? And when I met him at the mall when I was younger, he asked what I wanted, I gave him catalog numbers. From the first sign of snow till winter was done, you could find me flipping through pictures of fun.
Can't keep a catalog up on the shelf. Thirsty for my catalog.
It's all good, didn't need a reason. Yeah, the best read of the season.
Can't keep a catalog up on the shelf. Thirsty for my catalog.
I knew the catalog better than anybody did. Had teachers asking me what they should get for their kids. And well, my sister was blasé to the whole affair. I could name my little ponies by the color of hair. Yeah, Snoopy snow cones and the Garfield phones, tabletop hockey and the tape deck from Home Alone. Yo! Game Boys, Glow Friends, Barbies, Toboggans, video games, rock tumblers and toboggans. Begging for Megazords, Play-Doh, Lego, a book full of dreams. Come on, what kid could say no? Dino Riders, Cops, Mask, Thundercats. If it was plastic with a staff, I wanted that. But honestly, thinking of the elation, I didn't need toys, I had imagination. After all these years, I still have the thought that all I want for Christmas is a Sears catalog. From the first sign of snow till winter was done, you could find me flipping through pictures of fun.
Can't keep a catalog up on the shelf. Thirsty for my catalog.
It's all good, didn't need a reason. Yeah, the best read of the season.
Can't keep a catalog up on the shelf. Thirsty for my catalog. Thirsty for my catalog. Thirsty for my catalog.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network. You're listening to the Geekscape Network.